I'm gonna make a quick point about intersectionalism. What it is, why we need it, how we can do it better. And I'm going to make it without my vest because it is hot out. And I just can't take that today. I'm sorry. I know it's part of my image, but fucking... convenience comes before image, right? You understand. So the first thing that we'll do is look at the definition of intersectionalism on Wikipedia. That should give us a pretty clear starting point for which to talk about it further. Intersectionality, also referred to as intersectional feminism, is a branch of feminism which identifies how different aspects of social and political discrimination overlap with gender. Pretty basic. It is a non-empirical, qualitative, analytic framework that applies deconstructionalist theory, a literary criticism method, to attempt to identify how interlocking systems of power impact those who are most marginalized in society. Who uses non-empirical in everyday conversation? Like, people who think that feminism is stupid, they tend to think that feminism is stupid because they don't understand it. And they don't understand it because people don't use the word people don't use the word non-empirical in everyday conversation. Make things simple. The term was coined by black feminist scholar Kimberle Crenshaw in 1989. There are various forms of social stratification, such as race, class, sexual orientation, age, religion, creed, disability, and gender, which are included in the consideration of intersectional feminism and its social and cultural effects. The purpose of intersectionality is to identify that these forms of discrimination are related to one another and take these relationships into account when working to promote social and political equity. That's equity, not equality. That's important. Intersectionality may also be related to the term triple oppression, which engages with similar themes. Critics have pointed out that intersectionality relies entirely on non-objective concepts such as systems of power, which themselves lack a material reality and therefore empirical basis for study, making it an ideological set of ideas and not a proper sociological concept, which is a piss-weak criticism. That's like literally we live in a society. Like, I'm sure that there are intelligent scholars that make much more well-constructed points, but that just on its face, that's a piss-weak criticism. Couple things. One, for the love of fuck's sake, Wikipedia crew, tone down the language. Second, while I will admit that intersectionality is a feminist idea rooted in feminist theory, it absolutely is all of those things. I don't know that it's fair to describe it as exclusively a feminist idea. You can apply intersectionalist ideas in an anarchist sort of manner, which is kind of exactly what I'm going to do here. So the way I would describe intersectionality to people who ask is that it is, first off, an additive philosophy, not unlike anarchism, incidentally. You apply intersectionalist ideas in order to modify an existent philosophy or worldview. With anarchism, this additive idea is that power structures that cannot justify themselves need to be replaced or destroyed, sometimes both. With intersectionality, the idea is that people have unique needs based on unique factors in the society in which they live. These factors can be their race, it can be gender or gender identity, it can be sexual orientation, it can be disability, whether mental or physical, it can be age, it can be where you live. As I've said before, people who live in Alaska have different material needs than people who live in Hawaii. It can even, from my point of view, be people of different religious or philosophical viewpoints. I'm going to expand upon this a little bit more later, but I feel like there has to be a place on the left for people who would be traditionally viewed as oppressive. That is, religious people, people who used to be fascists, and even capitalists. So there's this video by a woman named Cat Black that I watched 2 times. I'm going to link it in the underbar. It's called Why is YouTube So White? But I feel like the name is a misnomer. Her principal complaint isn't that YouTube is too white. Her principal complaint is that her voice isn't valued as much as other people who happen to be white. Even in instances where she would know much better than other people. The specific example she gives is, like, why does no one believe her when she says white nationalism is bad? This is not a unique contention to her. if you are active in marginalized communities, which, I mean, despite being the token cisgendered, heterosexual white guy, I'm a mod in a lot of these places, you see that happen. You see a lot of communities say that they're not being listened to, and that their voices are being stifled. Generally, this is on the basis that, like, their feelings, that they're talking about feelings and not cold hard facts. But that's bad for a couple of reasons. So the first reason, and maybe the more substantial reason, is, like, you have, like, Ben Shapiro is a good example. He has his catchphrase, "Facts don't care about your feelings." And people on the left seem to have picked up on that, and I fucking hate it! You're literally using facts and reason and logic to disempower already disempowered people. It's shitty. Stop doing it. The second thing, and the thing where I'm coming from as an anarchist, people make bad decisions for reasons. Most people, unless they have some sort of disability or mental illness, don't just spontaneously make bad decisions. They usually make bad decisions because they have to choose between a bad decision or a worse decision. Or they feel like they have to choose between a bad decision and a worse decision. A very simple way to alleviate that problem, to maybe not get rid of it, but make it significantly less substantial, is to give those people a place where they can vent. A place where they can say their piece and be listened to. You don't even have to provide feedback. You can just... People aren't stupid. They know what's best for them. And as far as intersectionalism goes, accommodating various different kinds of people, letting them make better decisions, giving them room to make better decisions for themselves and ultimately for the community, is better for everyone overall. And not doing that only benefits people who want to take advantage of those marginalized people. And, like, I could give you some liberal claptrap about how everyone deserves the same rights and the same freedoms and stuff, but, like, first off, if you look at just raw prison numbers here in the US, liberals don't believe that shit. And second off, I'm not actually entirely sure that that idea that everyone deserves the same rights is congruent with anarchist thought. Which actually gives me an idea. Okay. Intersectionality is not difficult. Everyone gets a seat at the table. Everyone gets to speak their mind. If you can provide for people in unique ways, that they have unique needs, then you do that absolutely, because that lets them make better decisions. And if they can make better decisions, then you can make better decisions too. Doing an anarchism is less easy than that, but still not difficult. Power structures that cannot justify themselves, power structures that do not benefit people, need to be replaced with better power structures. And 9 times out of 10, better means none. Here's the friction. Intersectionality as a concept, as an idea, assumes that there is some kind of power structure that the disempowered people need to interact with in a specific way, and encourages those people to interact with it in that specific way. Anarchism seeks to destroy those power structures because it views those power structures as being unjust. How do you square that? Those ideas are literally incongruent with each other. How can you have both of them at the same time? Now, if I have to explain to you why this is a stupid fucking question, philosophy does not exist for its own sake. Philosophy is a tool that you use to help people improve their lives. If you're just following a philosophy for its own sake, then you, yes you, are propping up an unjust power structure. Who'da thunk? Furthermore, whether or not you like it, and I don't, we live in a world where those hierarchies still exist. And intersectionalism and feminism have historically proven to be very good at not dismantling those power structures, but alleviating the stress that they cause people. If you're throwing away intersectionality as part of your worldview because it isn't congruent with the end goal of your worldview, then you are literally denying how reality exists. You are literally not living in the real world. And And philosophers and activists such as myself call that being so far up your ass that your forehead is starting to come out of your mouth. Okay, so I want to be very clear here. I'm not saying that I've seen people throw out intersectionalist theory or feminist theory because it isn't congruent with the end goals of anarchist theory. Because that would be absurd, and people aren't stupid and they can see that it's absurd. Something I do see all the damn time, though, is people yelling at each other about different ideologies, about different goals and different periods of time. Hell, I go through this myself. Whenever I tell people that I'm willing to work with Democrats or liberals, when I tell people that I go out and canvass for votes, or that I work with Indivisible, I get called a fucking traitor. I get called a fucking liberal scumbag, or a fucking capitalist. That is harmful to the left, obviously. That is harmful to what we want to do. And I think we can fix it by applying intersectionalist ideas to different ideological viewpoints. Here's a radical idea. People hold different specific political and philosophical viewpoints because those viewpoints do something for them. A person who is a capitalist has a much easier time navigating capitalist life, the world that exists, than someone who isn't a capitalist. Like yours truly. My life is a blighted hellscape. I am miserable all the time. And if we can understand how people use these different ideas, from socialism to communism to anarchism to liberalism to centrism to even reformist capitalism, then we can understand better what their needs are, and make account of them, and help people get to a place where they can make better decisions. Like, here's the thing, there is no perfect ideology, right? Because the world isn't static. An idea has to change with the times that change with it, or it's going to die out. There's a reason people don't believe in Odin anymore, and that's because it's ridiculous in an age where fucking people can throw lightning out of their own damn hands. And holding on to an ideology, just for the sake of having an ideology to hold on to, that hurts. That hurts people who do that, and that hurts our movement. Maybe we could use more. Maybe we should try not talking about, how we're going to kill all the rich people. I'm a big fan of the news. But talk about what it is that we need and why we hold certain viewpoints. And how we can help each other, rather than why everybody else is fucking wrong. I think that would be good. I think that would be good. I really like having just a little bit extra time, just a couple more days to tweak something, to tweak one of these videos, make it a little bit better. All that stuff where I was able to add notes and insert pictures and define things and stuff, that was all the work that I did on this video today. And just to be perfectly clear, it's literally always personal reasons that keep me from putting as much work into these videos as I would like to. It's not that my schedule is too jam-packed to do as much work as I'd like to do. It's that I'm working on one of these, and then I get a call, and my mother tells me that if she doesn't get her lawn mowed, she's going to get a $400 ticket for her grass being a quarter of a fucking inch too high. And then I've got to go down to my mother's house and do that, and then my landlords are like, "Oh, Ron, you need to trim all our bushes, or we're going to get a ticket." And I'm like, come the fuck on. I have stuff I need to do today. So, couple things. One, I want to make it clear that I'm not saying all ideologies have a place on the left. We're not going to invite fascists into the left. We are diametrically opposed to them, or at least I would hope that we are. What I'm saying is basically the same thing that non-compete constantly says, is that we can make tactical alliances with different groups in order to, pursue common goals. Also, I kind of feel like I didn't give feminism enough credit in the video, which is, bad form on me, so feminism is fucking great. I describe myself as a feminist. specifically the language that I used in part of the video. I said that feminism and intersectionalism had a good track record of alleviating the stress that inequality causes, but I feel like maybe I implied that it doesn't have a good track record of actually solving that inequality. That's not true. That's not how I feel. Feminism and intersectionalism have done a great deal to solve inequality all around the world. Also, I identify as a feminist myself. I believe that women should have equal rights, and that there are certain problems that feminism is uniquely suited to solve. I just wanted to make all of that absolutely clear. I'm not dissing the feminism. Feminism's good. Very gentle reminder, I do have a Ko-Fi account if you feel like any of this is helpful, if you feel like any of this is worth supporting. Do not feel obligated to support me financially if you don't have the ability to. I'm going to keep making videos whether or not I get some financial support. The next video is going to be a sit-down video over there about straight pride and fascism. The next scripted video is going to be how and why the police are necessarily racist. The police as an institution. So, something to look forward to. And until we get there, take care of yourselves, alright?